Hello and welcome here on Random Rotation. I hope you're all doing well. Quite a lot of effects that are used in the film and photography world are easier to recreate than you might think. And one of those effects is the double exposure effect. Looks awesome and is not difficult to create. And that is exactly what I want to demonstrate today in this little Premiere Pro scene here. As you can see, I already prepared a sequence for us. I muted the audio that you just heard in the intro sequence for demonstration purposes. I think that would just be too distracting. And let's be honest, we don't need audio today. We just want to talk about these two video tracks here. Video track number 1 is the trees in the background, and video track number 2 is only my face. Let's turn the woods back on, like so. Next, we have to change the blend mode for video track number 1. That can be found under the opacity settings. Normally it's set to normal, that's the default, but we want to use screen. And boom, now you can see the trees in all the darker parts of the image, like my beard, for example, or the hair. And on the lighter parts of my skin, there is just a little bit shining through, as you can see here, and absolutely nothing peeking through on the white wall behind me. And to better separate the lighter from the darker parts of the image, I had to work with the Lumetri color panel very aggressively. As you can see here, I bumped up the contrast all the way, raised the highlights, lowered the shadows, raised the whites, and lowered the blacks. Also, I set my saturation to 0. That is not a must, of course. I could theoretically dial it back in, but I just like it better with the saturation at 0. And I also lowered the saturation for the woods clip. It's at 35 in this case, because I like this very light coloring in the trees here. Let me dial it back to 35. Yeah, like I said, it's very light, and I hope you can even see it after YouTube's compression kicked in. Other than that, I just lowered the blacks all the way, and this is what I got. And the only problematic area that I had was the upper left corner of my video clip here. I had to fix that with a simple mask on the woods clip. Let me mute video track number 2 here real quick so you can see my very, very, very rough mask, and that did the trick. And I have a little bonus tip for you here. Something that, in my opinion, always looks good with footage like this is to use the tint effect, like I did back here. I just mapped the black to, in this case, blue. Let's try a different blue, almost gray, or maybe something pinkish. That's a little too much for my taste. Yeah, that's the whole trick. Just 2 video tracks. On video track number 2, you need to work with the blend mode screen, and then video track number 1 becomes visible in all the darker parts of your image, or in this case, video clip. You just have to play around with the contrast, saturation, blah, 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 to your liking. And the best thing about it, this works in every single video editing application out there. Let me show you how it works here in DaVinci Resolve. I also have the 2 video clips here, and on video track number 2, I have to change the composite mode, they call it composite mode here, to screen. And then I jump over into the color workspace of DaVinci, and I'm doing basically the same things that I just did in Premiere. For my face, that's bumping up the contrast, lowering the saturation, all the way, and for the woods clip, I turned the saturation completely off. It was not my goal to completely recreate the effect that I had in Premiere before. I just wanted to play around with these values a little bit, and saturation to 0 felt right in this case. Yeah, pretty easy to do. I told you. By the way, this works best when you use footage with a lot of contrast. At best, you make sure that the background, as you saw it in my example here, is white. If it's not, you can probably still use the footage, but you'll have to fiddle around quite a bit more than I had to. And that, my friends, is it for this week. I really hope you liked it, and if so, thank you very much. I see you in my next video, and until then, stay safe and motivated. Bye for now.